Let us now open the records to an account of great peril, from a time when the ring-bearer Frodo Baggins lay dying on the road to Imladris. He was poisoned by a Morgul blade, you see, and fading into the world of shadow. His rescue, it was not by chance, but in the form of an elf lord of such radiance that he seemed to burn with an inner, unquenchable fire. And it is recorded that this elf lord, Glorfindel of the golden hair, shone with a brilliant white light. A brilliance so pure, in fact, that before it, the Nazgul themselves, the 9 ringwraiths, recoiled in utter fear. For they perceived him as he truly was, a figure of terrible, unendurable light in the wraith world where they held dominion. To even begin to comprehend this mystery, we must turn the leaves of history far, far back, to a time of sorrow and splendors now long past from Middle-earth. For the truth is this: the elf lord who saved Frodo had, an age before, already lived, thought, and indeed, died. Ancient scrolls tell of his first life, in the first age of the sun, all the way back within the walls of Gondolin, the greatest and most secret of all the elven cities. Here his name was known and held in great honor, for he was a captain among the Noldor in their long, sorrowful war against Morgoth, the first Dark Lord. Here, in this city of extraordinary beauty, whose location within the Acreath was a secret guarded from all evil, Glorfindel held a position of the utmost trust. He was one of the chief defenders of that hidden realm, a golden bulwark against the encroaching darkness that had already consumed the lands of Beleriand. The city's might was ordered into 12 noble houses, and he was the lord of the House of the Golden Flower. It is said his house bore a radiant golden flower upon their shields, and his own hair was a mark of high ancestry, shining like a banner in the light of the 2 trees that was still remembered even then. And yet, the doom of the Noldor, that prophecy of the North spoken by Mandos himself, could not be escaped forever, for that doom follows its children even to the most hidden places of the world. And so, treachery from within brought ruin to the secret city, extinguishing the last great hope of the elves in fire and in blood. In this year, following the dark betrayal of Maeglin, the king's own nephew, Morgoth unleashed his full and terrible might. Armies of Balrogs, dragons, and orcs beyond count assaulted the unsuspecting city. The siege was sudden and the defense, though valiant, was utterly doomed. King Turgon himself fell defending his great tower. But through a hidden way, a small company of survivors escaped the sack of the city, carrying with them the future of both elves and men. The enemy, however, is ever watchful, and an ambush was laid for them in the high mountain passes. Their path was barred by a demon of the ancient world, a Balrog of Morgoth, wreathed in shadow and in flame. To save the refugees, and among them the child Arundel, who would become the hope of the world, Glorfindel stood alone against this terror. Upon a narrow precipice they fought, a duel of light against shadow. He gave his life to slay the beast, and in its fall the demon clutched his golden hair, dragging him down into the depths. They plunged into the abyss together. And so it was that Glorfindel of Gondolin died a hero's death. But such was the valor of his deed, that the great eagles, servants of Manwë, descended and lifted his body from the chasm, an honor seldom granted. He was laid to rest, and there his tale in Middle-earth should have found its end. But the story does not end in the abyss. For the Valar, the powers of the world, do not forget such a selfless sacrifice. And for Glorfindel, a path was made, a path that no other exiled elf is known to have ever walked. His doom was unwritten, his service to the light not yet concluded. You must understand, the elven spirit, their Fea, is bound to the circles of the world. When an elf is slain, their spirit journeys to the halls of the dead to be judged and healed. But for the Noldor who had rebelled and fallen under the doom, a return to Middle-earth was expressly forbidden. Glorfindel's heroic death, however, redeemed his part in the rebellion. He was cleansed, re-embodied in Valinor, and as the shadow of Sauron began to grow once more, he was sent back as an emissary of the Valar. This was not merely a reward. It was a strategic act, a unique and potent grace. So, the elf who returned was not the same as the one who fell. He was transfigured, reforged. Having passed through death and looked upon the light of Valinor with purified eyes, he was now imbued with a power that shone in 2 worlds at once, the seen world of mortals and the unseen world of spirits. His very being had become anathema to the servants of shadow. He now walked as one who belonged to both the mortal world and the blessed realm, a living bridge between them. His power was enhanced to such a degree that he was counted as nearly an equal to the Maiar, the angelic spirits like Gandalf himself. And this, right here, is the answer to the mystery. This is why the Nazgul fled from him. To Frodo, whose sight was already fading into their world, Glorfindel's true nature was revealed. The Ringwraiths saw not just an elf lord, but a being of pure, searing light, a memory of Valinor against which their own shadowed forms could not possibly endure. So then, a question arises. At the Great Council of Elrond, when the fate of the ring was debated, his inclusion was, of course, considered. But the wisdom of Elrond and Gandalf perceived that this particular quest required a strength of a wholly different kind. For Elrond Paradel perceived that this quest must walk in shadow, not in light. Glorfindel's immense power, so visible in the spirit world, would have been like a shining beacon to the eye of Sauron. No, the ring could not be unmade by might, and so his task remained to guard Imladris while the quest went forward in secret. The tale of Glorfindel is therefore far more than the history of a single hero. It is a golden thread woven through the entire tapestry of the ages, a testament to the deepest themes of hope and redemption that lie at the very heart of the great legendarium. His presence is a living sign that righteous sacrifice is seen and that it is honored. It is proof that the doom of Mandos is not absolute, and that even in the darkest of times, the grace of the Valar and of Eru Ilúvatar beyond them had not wholly abandoned the peoples of Middle-earth. He is the embodiment of Estel, of trust and of hope. When Glorfindel of the Golden Hair rode to meet the Ringbearer, he was not merely an elf lord of Rivendell, he was the doom of Mandos unwritten. He was a living memory that the light of Valinor endures. He was a solemn promise that even from the deepest abyss, there can be a return, and that ultimate victory is not won by power, but by sacrifice.